just got dropped off at Amicalola Falls, and I'm starting the approach trail up to Springer Mountain. It's not my first time on the Appalachian Trail, but this is my first official section hike on the trail. So hopefully by lunchtime I can get up to Springer Mountain, and by early afternoon I can be to the shelter where I can rest for the rest of the day. I'm only going to try to do about 10 miles today. I don't want to push it too hard on the first day. By the end of the week, my last day is scheduled for about 15 miles, but I may cut that short if I need to. I just made it to the top of the first hill on this approach trail, and it's kicking my butt. I feel like I was walking pretty much straight uphill, no switchbacks, and I've got a full pack full of water, food, so it's pretty much at its heaviest right now. Got a level spot right here, so it's pretty easy going now, so I can kind of recover, but so far I'm getting a really good calf workout. Very quiet. The woods are still waking up. Lots of birds. But there's no one else around, and everything is so green with some of the scattered rain that we've been getting over the last couple of weeks. Really, really nice. A sign, probably about a mile back now, said the average time to hike to Springer Mountain, to hike the Appalachian Approach Trail from that point is about 6 hours. I think it was 7.2 miles. I'm gonna try to do it in 4 and go from there. So I'll check back in a little bit. All right, it's been 1 hour on the trail. I'm about 2.5 miles in, so I'm keeping a pretty good pace for being mostly uphill. There's been a couple downhill sections, a couple of flat sections, but it's definitely been a good amount of uphill with some pretty steep stairs cut into the trail. So my legs are definitely getting a workout with the full pack load. Already sweating quite a bit. And it's pretty humid this morning. The sun's up. You know, one thing that is, it's nice being the first on the trail. It's so quiet. You're not really around anybody else, tourists or people visiting the park, or going on a day hike. But when you're the first person on the trail, you're the one who clears out all the spider webs across the trail. And when the sun is not up very high, you don't get any reflection, any light reflecting off of those little tiny spider webs. So they just catch you right in the face when you're not expecting it. And I have lost count of the number of spider webs that have just draped across my face. Fortunately, the only one that actually had a spider in it that I know of, I was able to see and clear out of the way with my pole before I walked into it. So, just FYI, if you're out on the trail early, be ready for spider webs. Well, I have 3.5 miles until I reach Springer Mountain. I just passed the hike-in trail that splits off from the Appalachian Approach Trail. And about a half mile back, I realized I did not bring a charger or a charge cable for my phone. So I have a battery backpack that is weighing me down, and I can't even use it. So hopefully I'll pass somebody who has one, and I can either borrow it and mail it back to them, or maybe give them some money for it, or maybe hitch a ride into town as soon as possible and get one. So because of that, I'm going to keep my videos, I guess, to a minimum, and just take some pictures here and there. But yeah, that really sucks. So I guess I'll check back in later when I get to the top of Springer Mountain, and hopefully I can exit the trail and buy a cable today. If not, then tomorrow. But I'll be definitely conserving my battery. So it sucks. Double check your pack before you leave. Make sure you have everything. But if not, you know, I'll be okay. I just won't be able to take video, and I won't be able to check my map and distance and stuff with GPS. So it is what it is. We'll see. Well, I made it to Silver Creek Shelter. It's about 1:30, and I started getting a little bit of cramping in my quads coming down from Springer Mountain. There was a lot of downhill, and it started bothering me a little bit. I thought about pressing on, but there's not really another shelter that's close to here. I could tent camp if I wanted to, but right when I reached the shelter, this family was vacationing here, and this guy did have an iPhone cable, and he was a little reluctant to let it go. which I was okay with. I mean, it's definitely his prerogative to say no. But I offered to mail it back to him. It was a nice cable that he really liked, and I know that nice cables are hard to come by. So, I really appreciate it. His name is John, and I really appreciate that. I wouldn't be able to film, I wouldn't be able to take photos, and I would probably run out of battery before I got to the shelter tomorrow evening, which means I wouldn't be able to talk to my wife or my kids or anything else. So that was really nice, really, really nice and generous. So anyway, I'll mail it back to him when I get done, and I will probably include an extra cable just because, just for his generosity as a way to say thanks. So anyway, so here's Stover Creek Shelter. You probably saw it in the background. It's here, I'll give you a little tour. Let me flip this around. So it's got a lot of tent sites. There's a tent site there. A lot of flat places where you could park a tent if you needed to. There's a bear cable system. You may not be able to see it hanging between those trees. And that's typically what you would use to hang your food, so the bears wouldn't come after it at night. But they recently installed, like a year or two ago, a new bear box, which is a little more convenient. You can put your food in that bear box over there, and it's really nice. So, got a fire pit. You can hang out by the fire at night if you want. And the shelter is really nice. It's got a covered table, benches along the sides if you want to sit out of the rain. Tin roof, aluminum roof, 2-story, nice and clean. Really nice and clean. You can hang your bag up off the ground on these pegs. Hang your shoes, whatever you want to hang. Really, really nice shelter. It's got windows. So you can open these windows here if you want to. Really nice. Definitely a step up from the Blood Mountain shelter that I stayed in last time. Although that one was an old stone building, so not much to expect. There's a privy down the trail. You might be able to see the roof of it in the distance shining a little bit. And a water source nearby. Stover Creek is nearby, so I'm going to give my legs a rest and eat some lunch and start to set up a little bit. So, let's see, where did I leave you? So I realized I did not have my iPhone cable with me probably about 4 miles into the trail. At about 5 or 5.5, I reached the hike-in trail, and I decided to detour a mile to the hike-in trail and see if they had a gift shop or something that could sell me a iPhone cable, but they didn't. So I had to hike a mile back. It was downhill pretty much all the way to the hike-in, and it was uphill all the way back. So that was a wasted trip, wasted energy. But I guess it was worth it just to find out, you know, if they had one or not. I ended up, let's see, I think I said I wanted to get to the summit, the Springer Mountain summit, in 4 hours. And if you count all the miles that I did, the extra miles that I did, let's see, there was 1/10 of a mile out, 1/10 of a mile back to refill my water. The extra 2 miles round trip to the hike in. It was about 10 miles total to the Springer Mountain summit from where I started hiking. And I did that in exactly 4 hours. So, I probably could have done it in 3 if I hadn't had to detour, which made me consume more water, and I had to get more water. So overall, I think it was a pretty good day, pretty good pace, including the stops, including going to the hike-in and talking to people and stopping on the trail here and there. I averaged about 2.5 miles an hour, which is really great for me, especially considering the elevation. I'll have to look up what the elevation was for today, because I'll have to add the hike-in trail to that. So I stopped at Springer Mountain, had a quick snack. I was there for maybe 15-20 minutes, just talking to the other day hikers that were there. We chatted for a little while, and then I picked up my pack and continued on 3 more miles to the Stover Creek shelter, where I will be staying tonight. So I'm gonna take my boots off and let my feet air out, rest a little bit, and then start setting up camp here in the shelter and have some lunch, maybe take a nap. So I'll check in a little bit later.